In today's podcast, I'm going to reveal to you the exact framework, strategies, and everything behind the scenes of how I first scaled my fitness business to $1 million a year and eventually how to over $10 million. And I'm going to give you each of these into 5 bite-sized chunks. So make sure you have a pen and paper because there's lots of things that are going to be strategic, tactical, and some mindset-based things that you can implement into yourself and also your business to help you get exactly what you want from the coaching service that you offer right now. Now, the first thing we look at is stage 1. 0 to 5K a month, getting lift off, getting inertia, getting what I call escape velocity. This is the most difficult part of business. And it's a really sick, twisted paradigm that essentially at the beginning of this process, when it is the most difficult because you have the least amount of confidence, you have the least amount of resources, you have the least amount of network, you probably have the smallest coaching audience you're gonna have. It is the hardest and your skills and assets you essentially have are the worst. So this is why you have to understand at the beginning, you just have to be gritty and be willing to be what I like to call about the 3 R's. Relentless, resilient, and resourceful. You just have to be able to keep going, keep pushing, and you just want to be looking for signs of positivity, signs that things are moving. Now, clients we work with, we focus on getting them quick wins. Why? Because when you get confidence from a win, it then builds momentum. And the more momentum you get, the more confidence you get, and the more that loops round and round and round. And this will probably resonate with you if you think from like a sales call perspective. If you close one sales call, you then go into second sales call, you're on a roll, you got momentum, you got confidence. It's a bit like playing golf, like we play golf today. If you hit 3 good shots, chances are you hitting a 4th good shot is going to be very high. If you hit 3 bad shots, the chance of you hitting a 4th bad shot is going to be very high. So this is where you want to try and get yourself into that confidence momentum loop where you're going to be moving quickly. Now, the biggest mistake most people make at the beginning is overthinking everything too much and also thinking that they're not good enough. The reality is everyone started from somewhere at square zero, and you actually have a lot of things as an almost unfair advantage at the beginning over other people. And let me explain why. If you have a very big coaching business and you coach a lot of fitness clients, you can't be that one-to-one with people. If you are new and you don't have any clients yet, or you don't have very many, guess what you can do? You can be very personal and very one-to-one, and you can outsell other coaches based upon that. Now, the big mistake most coaches make at the beginning is also then not charging a high enough price. So what you want to make sure you're doing is charging what you're worth. And the minimum I'd recommend anyone charges is £200 to £250 per month, and ideally charging 6 to 12 month programs. If you're going for like cheap bargain bucket, essentially coaching, you are going to create problems for yourself. Now, how do you get going initially when you haven't got any clients, you haven't got any momentum, you haven't got any results? You have to leave your ego at the door. And what do I mean by that is essentially you actually have to be willing to work for free. And most people aren't willing to do this. And this is actually kind of like a British thing, I think, where we're too proud to like coach someone for free or do X, Y, Z. The reality is you're at the fucking beginning, dude. So you kind of just need to do what you do. And at the beginning of me scaling my coaching business that worked with over 17,000 people we sold, according to my Stripe data, as customers, which is a lot. That all started because I coached a lot of people for free at the beginning. What I would do, and this is a great strategy I'd recommend, is I would do giveaways on my social media of a month's free coaching. And what I would do, that would obviously drive engagement. It would drive people into my profile, work really, really well. Now, what I would do is I would then pick, obviously, the winner. And who would I pick? I'd pick either someone who looks like they have money who can afford the service, or B, someone who looks like they have maybe a bit of muscle tissue, but they're just a bit chubby. If they lost like 4 kilos in a month, they look sick. That type of person, because it's going to give me results to share. Now, this is going to bring people into your business that you can use them as like case studies that will then help you to actually refine the product, refine the service, but also get testimonials, which are the best way to advertise, because you need to think about proof over promises, not just trying to market all the time, which is what most people do. Now, the reality is when you have got these people coming through, if you get them really good results and they say, just do 4 weeks, what do you think is going to happen after 4 weeks? They're going to want to continue. You can then get a paying client from that. And that's where you can convert free clients into paying clients. And then also you can try and get referrals from these people. So this is a very quick start where you can launch your coaching business at the beginning. The other thing I would say people have too much of an ego to do at the beginning is you expect all these clients to come to you. Reality, why would they? You're new, you haven't got a huge amount of experience. Unless you look like God's gift and there's something insanely unique about you, which there might be, then you should probably be less entitled and actually be more proactive in getting clients. This means you're going to need to DM people. It means you're going to need to sell people. It means you're going to need to pull people into your world because you're just starting out. And essentially, the beginning phase is getting that grind to get to 5K a month. And it doesn't have to be that hard. If you know what you're doing and you have the right advice, you can do that in 4 weeks. Very, very simply. We've had clients do it in like 3 days from scratch, because essentially it's just knowing how to get traffic, get that traffic into a sales call, take that sales call traffic and convert them into a client, and rinse, repeat that. The initial framework is very, very basic. Now, if we look at stage 2 of this in terms of scaling your business, going from say 5K a month and then 5 to 20K a month, I actually did this still while working a full-time job. So I left my full-time job 25th February 2019, and I was probably making 15, 20K a month online in that period. I was also earning maybe 5K a month pounds from my full-time employment. At that point, I was like, well, I'm earning like 2 to 3 times as much minimum from my side hustle. Probably about time I kind of make this main hustle, right? And you don't know what you don't know. And I made a huge amount of mistakes in that process. And the biggest mistake I actually made is I didn't take the leap further. So if you have momentum in your business, if you have progress in your business, you have to actually put pressure on yourself to get to the next level. The biggest reason you are not seeing big growth is because you're not making big changes in your life. One of the biggest changes you can do is leaving a full-time job, leaving where you live maybe. Like I moved from the UK to Dubai to try and go to the next level, and it paid off. You have to really kind of push yourself out that little bubble. The second thing is when you're going from say 5K a month to 20K a month, is actually I raised my prices. I went from selling very cheap programs. I originally really scaled my coaching business selling 8-week transformation programs for £100. And what actually happened is I had a guy called Jared who paid me £3,000 initially for one-to-one coaching for 3 months. He then paid for a full year, and he was paying £9,000 to £12,000 a year, depending on the year, working with me. And as a client, his LTV was over £30,000 from one person. That would have been the equivalent of me selling thousands of other people into basically our low ticket program. And this is the reality you have to understand, that like if you can go the volume route, which with AI and the way the world is going is going to completely not work at all. Or you can go the high end route with like HI, human interaction, creating personal relationships. Because this is the biggest thing people want right now, is actual human relationships, communication, and to work with a real person. And that is the quickest way to go from 5K to 20K a month, and also driving up your brand, your traffic. So showcasing more testimonials, showing more results, you like actually walking the walk. Like, do you look like a trainer? Do you show your own training? Do you show the nutrition you do? Do you show the supplements you do? Do you document, don't create, like Gary Vee said? Do you show like you're passionate about this and you actually really give a shit? Like that is very, very, very important. Yet a lot of coaches don't show that. And there obviously is an extent to this. Like you don't have to do like some people I see who document every single thing they do every single day. And it's like, dude, I know all 5 meals you eat every day because you post them every single day on Instagram. Like I really don't care about your whey protein and cream of rice before you train. Like that's good for you. And no offense to anyone who does that, but from a marketing standpoint, it's going to get very boring very quickly. But the first thing you have to understand is from 5K to 20K a month is A, scaling up the volume, B, it's going to be increasing the price, and C, a mindset shift. Because a lot of people I see in the coaching industry tap out about 10K a month. And like, why do you think that is? Why does everyone get stuck around 10K a month? And it's not because it's a magical number. And I can tell you exactly why. Because that's the amount of money people can make where they get very comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of greatness. If you want to be great at something, then you need to seek discomfort. And we're going to talk about this. If you want to be really, really good, if you want to be in great shape, if you want to have an insane physique, that's not going to be comfortable. You're not going to be sitting on the sofa. You're going to have to work really, really fucking hard, consistently, over and over and again. And even when you don't want it. And that's why most coaches get stuck at 10K a month. So this is your opportunity to decide, do you want to stay at like stage 2 in that like 10K a month range, or do you want to go to the next level? And a lot of people need to kill an identity of themselves to go up another level. And one way to kind of think about this is live every day by not regretting anything you do. If you do that, the chances are you're going to take the right actions every single day and don't sell yourself short. Now, if we go to the third stage of this, which is going from 20K a month to 50K a month. This is where a lot of coaches never even kind of see into this realm, and we kind of specialize in taking coaches. If anyone is a fitness coach, they make 10 to 20K a month, we can pretty much 3x your business in 4 months, like guaranteed. It's very, very simple. You just don't know what you don't know. And this phase is probably my most fun to implement to people's businesses because it gives them the 3 things that I always wanted. Time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And if that's what you're looking for, this is actually what you need. Because what most coaches do is they build themselves a prison and they build themselves a job. They have their golden handcuffs, they make their 10K a month, yet they have no freedom. They spend all day doing 5-6 hours of check-ins a day. They have a very inefficient business and the whole day is like a hamster wheel on repeat. The reality to you, is that what you want to do in 3 years' time? Is that what you want to do in 5 years' time? Because you need to start playing bigger games because you then win bigger prizes. And how this happens is you actually have to hire help. You have to build a team. You have to build systems. And you have to start to pull yourself out of fulfillment. Now, I know a lot of coaches love coaching. I'm not saying that people shouldn't coach people at all, but you have to understand the value of your time. And I see a lot of coaches who are stepping over dollars to collect dimes. And I'll say that again, to think about it. You're stepping over dollars to collect dimes. You actually have to realize what you're spending your time doing. Is this a high leverage task or a low leverage task? Can someone else do the coaching for you at the same standard? Or even better? Because to be transparent, in my fitness business in 2020, I had 200 one-to-one coaching clients. Was that manageable? Probably not. I remember I used to get everyone to check in on a Friday thinking it was very efficient. And it probably would have been if everyone did. The reality is most people didn't check in on a Friday. They'd check in on a Saturday, someone would come on a Sunday. And it ended up being like a 3-day process over the weekend where I'm constantly dealing with check-ins. And they would come through so fast, I couldn't reply back. And this is essentially where you have to understand that this is where you're going to be stuck in the business. And the fastest way to get out of that is hiring a coach, starting to delegate out some of the fulfillment, which is one of the first things you should really start to push off. Now, most people are afraid of doing this for a couple of reasons. One is an ego. You think, oh, everyone wants to be coached by me. No one cares. People just want the end result. They want to buy into the brand, which you should be building, and they want to buy into the ecosystem of the result of what you sell. The second thing you need to understand is that when you're trying to scale up the business, is like, where else are you wasting time? I'll give you a good example. I spoke to a client of mine who, he has a coaching business. He's in America. His name's Taylor. We took him from 20K a month to $70,000 a month in 3 months. And I spoke to him 2 days ago and he's still doing his own billing and admin on Stripe and he forgets to bill client stuff sometimes. I'm like, dude, like this is retarded. Like he has 2 closers, he has a setter, he's making $70,000 a month. I was like, do nothing other than just find someone to deal with this with you. You cannot be doing this because this is literally rotting your business from inside. A, wasting his time. B, meaning that he actually kind of misses things that he should be doing. So like getting clients to pay money when they haven't, when they've expired. So you have to try and look for these bottlenecks because what's going to happen if you don't fix these things, your business will rot from the inside. And I see this happen over and over again. Now, one of the ways that we help people do this is the amount of history, knowledge, experience, and systems we have makes it very easy. So if I think about my first fitness business, took me 3 years to probably get to 7 figures. The second business took me 3 months. Why? Because I knew exactly how to do it. I knew what to do, when to do it, and who to put in what place. And we know that life gets easy. And the goal of you growing your coaching business is to grow on easy mode. Now, the reality of most people out there, they are pushing a car up the hill with the handbrake on with like an elephant in the passenger seat. The reality is you want to make this as efficient as possible. And to do that, you need to hire a lazy person to do it. And essentially, I would actually say people think I'm very hardworking, which I quote unquote think I am to some degree. I'm actually lazy with a lot of things. I want to be as efficient as possible because I want to get in, get out, get the output of what I want. And there's a lot of things I don't want to do. Admin being one of those. And when you start to think like that, you have a kind of systems first mentality of kind of like, not my job. So how can I find someone to do this? And a great process to think about is the 3 Ds. So do, document, delegate. So literally you do the task yourself. And then you could document it. So you can maybe do a Loom video and then you can delegate it out to someone else. And also what's important about this process is then you can do every single part of this within the business. Now, as people's businesses start to scale up, and we can talk about this in the next section, in section 4, you want to start using things like paid ads, you want to start using more complex things. And then this happens. People just try and hire contractors, people sell them some type of 90-day email webinar flow or some other BS. You don't understand it, it's probably not going to work, and they can't almost communicate with you in the same language. So you have to understand a base level of skills. And you as an entrepreneur want to become basically like a T, where you know a lot of knowledge about a few things, but you go deep on one. And that's essentially what the best people do. Stage 4 is how you go from 50K a month to 100K a month. Now, in my opinion, probably the big bottlenecks where people get stuck with their coaching business is probably 10K a month, 20 to 30K a month, and then probably the 40 to 60K range is a big one, and then probably 100 to 200 is like a big leap. Now, why do these people get stuck? The common thing that happens between 40 to 60K a month, let's call it that, to then get you to 50 to 100 is sales. When you start to get a lot of volume of calls, you cannot take 6 to 8 sales calls yourself every single day and manage the entire business. This is ludicrous. Now, what you should be doing is building someone else into the business who can close for you. However, this is the most expensive thing you will do in the business. This can also be the most expensive mistake you do in the business. If you do not have the right processes, training, and systems of how to bring these people in and where to hire them from. I've built multiple sales teams in my own business. I built multiple sales teams for coaches and clients. And this is really something we help people to do so you don't make these huge mistakes. Now, one of the first things you have to understand is, like you listening to this right now, I could take the sales calls for you. I'm really good at fitness sales calls. However, you couldn't pay me enough to do them because you don't have enough calls, the ticket price isn't high enough. So if you have a coaching business that makes, say, 50K a month, let's say, let's call it 20K of its recurring revenue as an example. So you've got 30K front end cash. If you're going to pay a closer 10%, that means they're getting 3K a month. If someone's really, really good at sales, they're not working for you for 3K a month. Now, what does this then give you a problem with? That the other people you're trying to bring in either have no experience, they're not very good, or they're from some less than ideal place in the world, let's put it like that, so you can pay them less. Now, what can be a good solution for this that I recommend to a lot of coaches is a hybrid role, where someone maybe coaches clients and they also close. So they have a decent income coming from her coaching, but they can also do the closing process. This is really where I see the industry going a lot because it also allows the help for fulfillment on the back end and reduce churn. Because you can always have one person handle the whole process through. And this is where I think there's a graveyard of businesses stuck in that level of like 50 to 100K a month because they don't actually focus on building out the sales systems to build their business. Now, when you come into the sales system to build your business, one of the things I mentioned there is you can't get enough call volume to essentially pay a closer enough. How do we solve that? We learn paid advertising. We learn how to build funnels. We learn how to put these ecosystems in place. And essentially what we help you focus on is building a money printer. You put $1 in, you get $3 to $4 back out. You're like, okay, cool. How many dollars can I put in the front end? That is essentially what paid ads is. And when you have a system that works, you can turn the volume up and just get more calls, more calls, more calls, more clients. And then you're in the great place where client acquisition and lead flow isn't an issue. Can you imagine waking up and not having anxiety, overwhelm, thinking where the next sales can come from? Like how much easier would your business be? And this is why you need to learn to run paid ads. Now, I see a lot of BS out there with people saying paid ads don't work, X, Y, Z. Well, firstly, Facebook is $1 trillion company, so they probably know something. Number two is I've personally spent over $1.6 million on Facebook ads. Why? Because I got a return on them, because I know how they work. And the reality is you don't have a marketing budget if your marketing works. The reason you can't actually spend money on marketing is because you don't have a system that works. And the reason these other retards who are teaching business advice in terms of how to sell coaching programs can't teach you paid ads and they don't really run paid ads themselves is because it doesn't actually work. Because if it did, they'd be spending more. And if you're watching this video, you've probably seen a lot of my ads in the past. And the reason for that is because they work. So I can put more and more and more money into them. And essentially, this is where you're building an ecosystem. And what we focus on is what we call our spider web marketing method that helps us pull people into our world. We keep them there, we warm them up, and then they convert into a client. And that's essentially when you've got a very scalable business that's not just going to work for you short term, but it's going to work for you long term. Because what a lot of coaches do is they drain the well. They drain their audience, they drain everyone they can sell to, and they don't replenish it. You want the well to be overflowing. We've got more prospects, more people you can sell, more clients than you would ever like. And whenever you want to take some water out of the well, bring some clients in, make some money, boom, you can do it. You just put an ask out and it works. But most people don't think like this. And that's almost the game, is the conveyor belt method. And I can give you an interesting statistic. This is what a lot of people do from a paid ads perspective, and they proverbially crap their pants, is they spend some money for paid ads for maybe 4 days and nothing happens. Now, what actually then happens is they turn the ads off and like Facebook ads don't work. Now, we use very advanced ad tracking software And what I can tell you is this, that on average, it takes 30 days for a client to sign up from a paid ad from us. Now that's over a year, 18 months worth of data. Now we have some clients who sign up 24 hours, some are 3 days, some maybe after 9 months. So obviously that's going to skew the statistics, but the average is 30 days. So if I set an ad up and I ran it for 5 days and then I turned it off because I hadn't made any money, it was never going to work anyway because the statistical average is 30 days. And if you don't have these tracking mechanisms in your business and you really want to scale up to the next level, you will never be able to do it. You're running blind. It's like flying a plane with no GPS on. You don't know what direction you're going in. And a great example of this is our client, Don Wenner, who went from 15K when he first came to 7-figure scaling systems, all the way up to 150K a month because we helped him install these types of systems. Now, for me in my own business, what really skyrocketed me from 50K a month to probably 300K a month, I would guess in 18 months, was I threw money into people helping me to learn. I went to mastermind events all over the world. I hired mentors, multiple at the same time, because I wanted as much knowledge as possible so I could go and execute and fix the right problems in front of me. And I didn't guess. And the easiest way to get what you want, same as you were a fitness client, like one of your fitness clients wants to get in shape, if you pay someone who knows how to solve the problem you have and you do what they tell you to do, you solve the problem and your business grows. And the reality of business is you're constantly solving problems, but then creating new problems. So if you're in your business right now, you're like, oh, everything's going great. Like, oh, I don't need anyone to help me. Like you're telling yourself a lie because there is a problem there. You just don't have the skill set to see it. And essentially what we do is we help see the red dot on the map of your business and be like, that's the thing you need to fix. And the reason you can't your business to 50 to 100K a month at the moment is because you can't see that. So that's stage 4. Now, if we look at stage 5, which is how we went from 100K to over $10 million in revenue in our fitness business, there's some big learning lessons and huge mistakes I made there. If I'm honest, the biggest mistake I made was getting distracted and trying to implement too many things at one time. When I first moved to Dubai, I was a bit on the warpath and I put on a whiteboard, like, I want to make $1 million a month, how am I going to do it? I wrote every single strategy I could think of and then I hired an expert, apostrophe expert, for every single thing and tried to execute everything. And what happened? It was a fucking mess. I lost loads of money, it was really stressful and the thing didn't really work. And what you want to think about is efficiency, simplicity, and that's how you scale a business. If you focus on doing 1, 2, 3 things phenomenally well, and your business will grow. But most people get red shiny object. They get distracted by the latest retard on social media who's trying to sell you how to grow your coaching business without taking any sales calls and never talking to anyone. You just need to buy their thing and then you get 100 grand a month for the rest of your life. That doesn't work, dude. Like that's a lie. And I'll be honest with you, growing coaching business is really hard, but it is very simple. You want the positives. The reality is you don't know it's simple because you don't know how yet. And essentially that's where you have an ignorance tax you need to pay down. Now, when you're going from 100K a month upwards and how we got to 10 million, it's essentially focusing on leadership, building teams, building structure, and trying to pull me more out of the weeds so the business runs more without me and I can focus on higher leverage things. So one of the things I do all the time is I look at my calendar every day and I just think, is this something that's high leverage or is it low leverage? So example, if I was doing a one-to-one coaching call with someone, that's low leverage. If I do a one-to-one sales call, it's a low leverage. If I am filming this video right now, that's high leverage. If I'm doing a live training with clients, high leverage, because that can be cut up, reused, it's helping multiple people at the same time. You want to think about building the systems and architecture and long leverage things within your business. And that's how you get all these things to stack together and have the compound effect that's going to give you growth. Now, where a lot of people struggle with this, and I found it difficult, is to shift from being the person driving the machine to the person building the machine. Like I naturally kind of want to run through walls and do everything myself, whereas I've had to learn to try and teach other people and set out the frameworks for other people to play. And it's almost if you were playing American football, you want to set out the strategy and the play you want to run, but you're not the quarterback throwing the ball. You want to give the ball to the quarterback and let him throw it, but you tell him exactly where. And that is essentially your job as you scale the business up. And I'd say within this process, the most important thing for you to understand as the business grows is strategy is the highest leverage thing you can do. Like, where is the market going? What's working? Where should we be ahead of everyone else? And the 3 big things I'm going to leave you with that you need to focus on in the next 2 years. And if you're not, you're going to be part of the great divide of either the coaches who are failing or the coaches who are absolutely going to crush, is long form content, AI, and paid advertising. Those are three things we specialize in helping people to implement into their businesses, to scale, to get the freedom they want, to get the finances they want, and to achieve everything they want in the coaching business. This is a short background in terms of what I've done to generate over $10 million in fitness. If you took value from it, drop some comments below. And if you want help in scaling your own coaching business, hit the link below this video or drop me a message on Instagram. I'll personally send you a voice note back. And I have one small ask. If you enjoyed this episode, well, take a screenshot, put it in your stories, and I'll repost it on my stories as well. So we'll see you in the next episode soon. And if you're watching the video version of this, check out the one on the screen now.